Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of the Press Enterprise High School Football Video Podcast. I am Press Enterprise Sports Editor Tim Hare, and I am joined by another special guest this week. We have Bloomsburg University's Roy Dennis, former Berwick standout. Roy, thanks for being here.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm pretty excited about this.
Yeah, a couple things to talk about. You know I've prepared questions when you see the notepad. Obviously your father is the new coach at Central Columbia. Pretty successful. Scott Dennis so far 3-2. What kind of coach is your father? Is he the kind of coach that you would want to play for from when you were a player?
Absolutely. I think my dad's he's an old school kind of guy, very disciplined. He expects the players to hold themselves accountable through a lot of the season, like with lifting and being on time. He doesn't tolerate a lot of just doing whatever you want. He runs a tight ship. And it's funny that you say that because I love my dad and I would love to be a coach like him. But when I was growing up, he always made it a point that I never want to coach my son. So he was on varsity when I was actually on the freshman level. And then when I moved up to varsity, he got moved down to freshman because he didn't want us to clash at all. Yeah, a little bit.
I could see that, though. But now, so you're a coach. Would you say you are a coach from the Scott Dennis tree? Do you coach like your dad, or what kind of personality do you have as a coach?
Well, as of right now, I'm coaching guys that are like people that I've just played with. I'm coaching the defensive line at Bloomsburg University. I'm fresh off of playing with these guys.
Right,
so,
you're 1 year out of the program.
Yeah, so it's a little difficult because you can't be the disciplinarian with these guys. You kind of. I have Coach Blandon, who's doing a great job as the head defensive coach, to kind of show me how to interact with college men, because that's what they are, they're young men, and how best to work with them, when to get tough on them, and when to be a little more lenient.
Since you bring it up, have you had any sort of awkward, because like you said, these are former teammates, like a situation where it's like, I know we just played together last year, but I kind of have to get in your face right now.
I haven't had like a legendary like my dad's blow ups yet. I haven't yelled at anybody
like a face mask melting tirade.
Not yet, but I've told them, like, I'll take them and I'll say to them, like, listen, we expect better from you. Like I've told them firmly, like, this is what you have to do, but not a real meltdown yet.
Who do you most want to yell at? Is there a guy you're just like, this is 3 years in the making, like? You did something 3 years ago you don't even know, and it's coming for you.
Not exactly that I'm looking to yell at, but I'll tell you who never got yelled at in his career that maybe he could use it is Joe Weddy, Captain Joe Weddy.
Oh.
The kid, he does everything right, and you're just like, man, how are you just so like such a great company man? He does a great job of putting the team first. I'm just like, you know what, you need a yelling at just because,
just for the experience.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, so obviously you're coaching at the college level, one year out of the program. Your dad only coaching at the high school level. Have you kind of said to him, look, keep plugging away. Maybe you'll get to the college level. Work hard, keep your nose to the grindstone.
My dad's always told me high school is his dream. This is it. Like being at Central Columbia, he told me this is like the dream to him. He coached at Holy Redeemer. They got better, but their facilities aren't exactly where you would like a program to be. He was absolutely blown away by the type of kids that are at Central Columbia, by the facilities that are there, and the administration that is so willing to work with him to help improve the program. He was stunned when he went through the interview process, and he absolutely fell in love with it. So Central I think is where he really wants to be, and he wants to stay there.
Now, like we said, you're a Berwick guy. And you have the unique perspective of having played. Frank Shep was your position coach. Obviously, he's the first-year coach at Berwick and longtime coach from Wilkes. Just from a player's perspective, what kind of coach is Frank?
Coach Shep is a lot like my father in the sense of runs a very, very tight ship. There was no sleeping in our meetings. He expected not every individual person to be perfect, but he did expect perfection as a team, especially as a D-line. He told us, we have the talent here to be the best position group in the PSAC when he was with us, but he also made sure that we knew you have to do the work with it, or your talent means absolutely nothing. So he didn't care how talented you were. You had to put your nose to the grindstone, and you had to put in the effort.
Now, obviously, you're a Wyoming Valley guy. Berwick plays Coughlin this week. I know you're otherwise occupied with BU, but that's an old rival of yours from high school. Do you think, based on what you know about Berwick, do you think Berwick beats Coughlin this week?
I predict Berwick will get back on the winning track this week. I know Coughlin always plays them tough, and Joey Parsnick, I'm sorry to say it, but I think Berwick gets back on track this week.
You can get in Parsnick's face and just yell like pro Berwick stuff.
Exactly.
Oh my God, Coughlin's terrible!
Wetsu!
Graduate from a better high school!
Exactly. I'm gonna yell Wetsu at him a lot.
Now, so obviously you have your allegiance to your dad at Central, and it hasn't happened. It probably won't happen in recent or in future years. If Central and Berwick were to find themselves playing, you've got your father, you've got your alma mater. Where's your rooting interest?
That's tough because Berwick is such a long-standing tradition, and I always said that I'll forever bleed blue and white, and that still kind of stands true because of the Central colors as well.
Slightly different shade of blue.
Slightly different, but I would have to go with my family, and I would root for my dad because he's been there for me my whole life. I love that man. I look up to him so much.
Do you have any high school teammates who are gonna maybe see this and be like, dude, Berwick?
Possibly. I know David Kitchen is currently strength and conditioning coach at Bloomsburg, and I see him almost every other day, and he might get on my case a little bit about that.
Now, I had asked your dad, I was talking to him last night doing the preview on Central and Warrior Run, and I said, so I'm talking to Roy tomorrow. I'm not necessarily looking to embarrass Roy, but just, maybe tell me something, because parents, they know the goods on the
know
kids.
stuff.
So he could have told me some things. He took it very easy on you, and he said, this is what I will tell you. Roy had a habit in junior high of apparently multiple times forgetting your helmet.
Man.
For games?
Twice in my 7th grade year. I didn't expect to play much as a 7th grader, but I found myself rotating in as a defensive end. And 2 away games. It was one of the Williamsport teams because they had 3 at the time, 3 middle schools, and I think the second one was Hazleton, where I actually had to borrow somebody else's helmet. The first time my coach benched me. But yes, I forgot my helmet twice when I was in junior high, and I always make sure, I've always made sure since then, through high school and all of college, the first thing I put in
is
my
helmet. It's like
the
essential piece of equipment. It's
know.
also the heaviest. The travel bag would feel different.
Yeah, it was just I was so lost coming from midgets up to junior high. I had brain farts.
Does that fit with your personality that you tend to be forgetful about things, or is that sort of atypical?
If you ask my professors, yes. No, I usually do a good job of remembering everything. I have to write a lot of things down because I have so much going on just coming at me from every other direction. So I write a lot of things down in my planner or in my phone, on my calendar to remind me, you have to go do this. You have to fill out this application or this form or something like that.
Now, I was looking at your player profile from last year's roster, and it lists different things for each guy. And the one thing, and I know you're a big superhero guy.
Yes, I am.
It said that your favorite TV show is The Flash.
Yes.
A show I do not watch.
Get on it.
In 50 words or less, convince me to watch The Flash.
All right. Grant Gustin, the actor who plays The Flash, he is fantastic to the point that most fans wish that he was The Flash in the movies that they're now trying to build. The Flash is sort of complicated. There's time travel and multiple dimensions that they bring up a lot, but a lot of classic old school DC super villains and some superheroes show up in it. So it's always
there is crossover
Green Arrow's been on it before.
Okay, because I was gonna say Superman or
Superman's a little off limits. They don't really do that.
Okay.
But this season's a possibility. There have been rumors that Superman might show up on The Flash.
I feel like we nerded out a little right now.
It's pretty good.
Is it on Netflix?
It is. Season 1 is currently on Netflix.
Okay. I will make this promise. I will give it 2 episodes.
2 episodes is all you need. The first 2 are fantastic.
And I'll be hooked?
I think so.
I think you convinced me.
Good.
All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for this week's podcast. But if you liked what you heard, and I think this was your best podcast that you've done.
Absolutely. 1 for 1.
Yeah. Perfect average. So if you like what you saw, please go to pressenterpriseonline.com, and we have the podcast embedded there. We have past podcasts. You can check out our stories. We have tweets from games. We do quarterly scoring updates on the website, so please check all that out. We also, on Twitter, I'm at TimHare87. You can check out Justin Biter, Dan Riley, Adam Roberts, Arthur Dowell. They're all on there. They tweet updates from all the games. So please check that out. But for Roy Dennis, I am new Flash fan Tim Hare, and we will see you next week.